What's going on there, everybody? Hope you're all having a fantastic day today. Now, ladies and gentlemen, holy smokes, I have some freaking phenomenal news for you guys today. For everybody who is a little salty with the map selection that we have within Battlefield 6 and is craving some bigger maps that are nicely designed, I think the news and information that I'm going to have for you guys today is going to be absolutely phenomenal. EA DICE is picking up, some more people to come on through, especially bringing back some, GOATs who put together a lot of masterpieces in previous Battlefield games. But of course, ladies and gentlemen, before we go and dive on deep, if you guys are interested in more content like this, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell. Post twice here, once at 8 a.m. Eastern Time and a second time at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. Of course, we post all different types of, variety, FPS games, third-person shooters, Ark, Battlefield, Call of Duty, Splitgate, all of the above, Gears of War. If you guys are interested, as I stated, subscribe and hit that bell. And last but not least, I do stream Monday through Saturday, where we go ahead and do a ton of variety as well. And this Sunday, actually today, we are going to be streaming an oddball stream. We're going to be checking out the playtest for Splitgate 2 to see all the new changes, and we're also going to be checking out Ark Raiders to get some more playtime in and, continue the grind. So if you guys are interested, you can find a link to my Twitch channel down in the description of this video. Now, ladies and gentlemen, boy oh boy, as I stated, do I have a video for you guys. I think everybody's going to be very excited about this news. I actually saw this from Battlefield Bulletin. The man behind Battlefield 6 Siege of Cairo and Battlefield 5 Iwo Jima and other past Battlefield games is back at EA DICE, this time as senior level designer. So this individual is going to have a lot of control when it comes to how the maps are going to be turning out, especially I'm assuming with the future of Battlefield 6. Don't forget, guys, EA DICE said that they understand and they hear our criticism that a lot of maps aren't up to Battlefield scale. And a lot of people want larger scale type of combat. And here we are with an absolute GOAT that's going to probably go ahead and do that for us. As you guys can see right here, this is the actual developer themselves, I believe Kale Busgard, saying, "Had an amazing time at Moon Rover Games, but felt I wasn't done with Battlefield just yet. Happy to announce that I'm back at EA DICE as a senior level designer." And I'm very excited about this because, as Battlefield Bulletin already said, this individual was one of the main ones who put together Siege of Cairo and also Iwo Jima, which is insane because these two maps are absolutely phenomenal. I would argue that Siege of Cairo is one of the best maps within Battlefield 6. Not of all time. I think Morocco Valley is my go-to favorite map when it comes to Battlefield 6. But for a condensed city style of map, it feels like it's straight out of Battlefield. This is what Battlefield's supposed to be when it comes to, all-out city warfare. I really enjoy Cairo, and it seems like a lot of the community enjoy it as well. It seems like it's a top pick for a lot of people out there. So, the dude who put together one of the coolest maps in Battlefield 6, alongside the individual put together, as I stated, Iwo Jima, which is a phenomenal map. And if I'm not mistaken, guys, can someone correct me down in the comment section? Isn't Iwo Jima one of the largest Battlefield maps? I don't know if 2042 might have actually made one bigger, I believe, because again, their game was made for over 100 plus players, so they probably expanded on that, but they weren't that good of maps in Battlefield 2042, so it doesn't really matter. But when it comes to well-designed, large-scale combat, Iwo Jima at the time was the largest map that we have seen in a long time. He's one of the top dogs who put that bad boy together. And, people have mixed opinions about Iwo Jima, but I gotta be real. I'm not too much of a large map fan when it comes to Battlefield, because a lot of the time they just turn out to be sniper maps, vehicle maps. But Iwo Jima did a perfect job at balancing out vehicles being able to roam free and dominate the way they want to, and infantry being able to find little bits and pieces of ground to cover that allows them to progress from one flag to the other, bit by bit, piece by piece, allowing for pretty much everybody to have a good experience. So that was a very well-designed large style of map, and keep in mind, that is what we want right now. We want DICE to come through with larger scale combat, and they're bringing in a guy who knows exactly how to handle this, and he's going to be leading the charge, I'm assuming, for the rest of the future content that we're going to be seeing within the overall experience. And ladies and gentlemen, there was actually one more map this individual put together. Well, not one last map. He probably put together a lot more maps, but, in the list of things that he put out on Twitter on what he worked on, he mentioned something else. This was actually a response by some nautical saying, "What maps have you worked on in the past?" And Kale said, "To name a few from the past few games I worked on, Iwo Jima and Battlefield 5, Orbital for 2042, and Siege of Cairo for Battlefield 6. I really wanted to mention this because, again, 2042 had some of the worst maps known to mankind. But Orbital, at least for me personally, has always been the best base map out of the whole Battlefield 2042 experience, and the one that needed the least work to actually make it function and be a fun style of map in Battlefield. Orbital was it. It was cool, the colors were beautiful, and it was like one of the only maps that actually had some events going on when it came down to the rocket taking off, where you can actually shoot down the rocket and have it explode. it was just the coolest map in 2042. You know, others might share a different opinion. I'm going to be real. I think all the 2042 maps absolutely blow in every way possible. But Orbital was a special one for me. It was one of the main maps that I thought was just outstanding in 2042. And I just thought this was really important to point out because a lot of people might be skeptical about this individual, but I'm serious. This individual's track record is no joke. He really does go ahead and put together absolute bangers. Even in the worst of worst Battlefield experiences, still nothing but a juicy banger. But this right here is an outstanding pick for EA to choose this individual to be the senior level designer because this individual has definitely proven that they can make everything across the board. Whether you want an absolutely, open terrain, massive all-out warfare with tons of vehicles, tons of open space for those vehicles to maneuver, or if you want more tight, condensed, infantry-styled, city-style warfare. It doesn't matter what map you want. This person has proven that they will absolutely mop the floor with whatever concept you throw at them. And it really excites me. It really excites me for the future of Battlefield because I'm already extremely happy with how this game launched. There are already a ton of GOATs who are on this team, a lot of OGs who were, on the team back in the Battlefield 4 days, Battlefield 3 days, who helped bring this game to life, this whole franchise to life, and built the community to what it is now. There are so many people who have returned to this game, even newcomers like Vince Impella, who's coming onto this game to share a bunch of his expertise. And they're still going. They're not done yet. EA is not done whatsoever. They are still trying to pick up more and more and more GOATs to, try to enhance the Battlefield 6 experience and make sure that this is probably one of the best Battlefield games they could produce in a very long time. And I'm starting to see a lot of people online trying to twist this into a negative thing, saying that EA is only doing this because it's a desperation move. They're very desperate and they need to get people back as soon as possible because they're flopping. Honestly, I don't really care if it's a desperation move, to be honest with you guys. This guy just left, I'm assuming, because he was working on maps even in Battlefield 6, and he's already back. So, I could see where people are saying, yeah, it might be desperate because he already left, and they're like, okay, please, come on back in, and they're probably bribing him with a pretty fat check to already return to, EA Studios, DICE Studios, whatever the heck they're called now, to work on all the maps within Battlefield 6. And I do gotta be honest, it's kind of funny that, after everybody has made it very clear, a lot of our biggest gripes is literally just the sizes of the maps, we just need some larger maps, they go ahead and bring this individual back in. This is like the first hire that we're really hearing about, major hire, that they are planning on, keeping for a decent amount of time. So yeah, I could see where people are saying it's a desperation move, but as I stated, genuinely, who cares? How can we possibly twist this into a negative thing, guys? And why are we even twisting this into a negative thing? Doesn't matter if EA is feeling desperate or not. Whatever it is, we are eating and we are winning, It's not us paying for this developer to come back. We're not, I guess we kind of did. Everybody who purchased the game, I guess we're kind of funding that check, but still, it's not us. It's EA who's, filling out the checks for this guy to come on through. It's EA who's bribing this person to come on through, probably with, again, a decent amount of cash. And it's only going to make our lives better. So why are we not happy about this? Why are we complaining about EA being desperate and, really trying to push to, who cares? Who cares? They did a good move here. They hired a great individual to come back on through as a senior lead developer here for the maps. And I think that this individual is going to lead the charge and get the whole map team really up and cooking when it comes to larger scale combat. Because we can't forget, DICE already promised that we're not going to be seeing any smaller maps like we did in the beta. Everything coming out later is going to be larger, like we saw with Blackwell, and as we also see with Eastwood that's going to be coming out this month. Pretty much everything is more open or just larger in scale. And that's good. And now that we have a developer that's coming in who specializes in making some of the better, larger scale maps, being the lead designer, that gives me hope, to be honest with you guys, that EA is planning and DICE is planning on making sure we get those larger maps that we have been requesting. And I'm telling you guys, people are really jumping the gun with this game saying it's horrible, but I might be called crazy later down the road. I might be the only person who still enjoys Battlefield 6 a year down the road, 2 years down the road, 3 years down the road. Who knows? I might be the only guy still around. But I genuinely do believe that this title is going to be one of those titles that will take time for love to really come on in because it's just popular to go ahead and hate on it, once it goes ahead and drops. But a year down the road, I think people are going to say, wow, Battlefield 6 is actually good. When everybody's problems are resolved, when the netcode is fixed up, when, the servers are all situated, when we get a bunch more, large maps in the rotation, these things take time. Ladies and gentlemen, let's not forget that, two of the most popular games ever, Battlefield 3 and Battlefield 4, took a year plus just to get them situated, right? So I'll say Battlefield 6 is already ahead of the curve. So I would say less than a year, people are probably going to be saying, wow, this is a very solid product, as long as DICE can hunker down and seriously get these issues out of the way. But they've shown they have a track record that they will. It just takes them some time. But they are at a very good advantage this time around, because it seems that the developers wanted to make sure this launch was at least more tolerable than the previous launches. Hence why we're still seeing player counts skyrocket into 300,000 plus on a daily basis still. Don't know if that's going to last too long, but tell me the last time you saw a Battlefield game last this long when it comes to, public popularity. It usually dwindles away instantly. So I really genuinely feel this game has all the potential. People are going to look back on this when all these developers are coming on in, cooking up a lot of these updates, giving us more content, more maps that we want, and polishing off the experience. Later down the road, people are going to say, wow, this is a banger of a Battlefield game, and it's a really solid product. But ladies and gentlemen, as always, if you enjoyed today's video, leave a like. If you hate it, leave a dislike. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell. Post twice here, once at 8 a.m. Eastern Time and a second time at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. And also, if you guys are interested in any of my live streams, I do stream Monday through Saturday over on Twitch, starting at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. Of course, if you guys are interested, go link that channel down in the description of this video. But as always, thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you all in the next one. Peace out.